Today, we begin our new series called Clash of Kingdoms. We're going to look at 4 battles told in the Bible. The Israelites had a mighty army, but the city of Jericho had an impenetrable wall protecting it. Then God stepped in and brought the walls tumbling down. It's a crazy battle story. You don't want to miss it. Speaking of missing, I got to go look for my sword. Well, I don't know where's that. See you later.
Well, hello there, everybody. My name's Bazoo, and I wanted to welcome you to today's service. Today, we're talking about the Battle of Jericho. God works in crazy ways that don't make sense to us sometimes, as you're going to hear about today. But when we obey God, He can bring down the obstacles that stand in our way. Okay, I'll catch you later, everybody. Bye.
Hello there! Are you someone who's looking to build but not sure of your first step? Out with the old and in with the new? Here at Joshua & Company, we specialize in the demolition of, well, anything! You got an old barn, house, or even a castle wall? We have just the right tool for that. 7 priests with 7 trumpets. And within 7 days, we will have your structure in rubble. Not make sense? Us either. But God works in mysterious ways sometimes.
When you're hungry, it can be frustrating to come across a tightly sealed jar. The answer to your hunger is right there on the other side of that glass and metal, but you just can't get it open. Fortunately, there's usually an adult around that can help you out. And if that adult has trouble, then there's little tricks you can use, like you run hot water over the lid, or you use a towel, or like this rubber gripper thing to grab tightly onto that lid. One way or another, there's a way, and you will get that jar open. Sometimes we come across obstacles in our own lives that are like this jar. There's no way around them, there's no way through them, and it seems as though we've come to a dead end. Fortunately though, we have an answer. We have God. And we know that God works all things out for good, and He engineers the tough times in our lives so that He will be glorified. So when you come across an obstacle, don't despair. Be thankful, because the Lord is going to use that obstacle to show you and the world that He is indeed Lord of all. Don't be discouraged by the obstacles. Give them to the Lord, and He will help you.
We're going to play a game similar to a rock, paper, scissors. You and I are going to battle it out to see who the ultimate warrior is.
Ultimate Warrior!
Try this out with your friends too. In this game, you can pick one of 3 weapons. The sword, the shield, and the fist. The sword loses to the shield, but beats the fist. The shield beats the sword, but loses to the fist. And the fist loses to the sword, but beats the shield. Alright, here we go. On the count of 3, you'll pick your weapon. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, I choose fist. So if you were the sword, you beat me. But if you were the shield, I beat you. Let's try another one. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, I was a shield. So if you were the sword, I beat you. But if you were the fist, you beat me. Alright, let's do another one. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. I was the fist again. So that means, if you were the sword, I lost. But, if you were the shield, I won. Alright, let's do it again. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I was the sword. So if you were the shield, you would have beat me. But if you were the fist, I won. Alright, let's do it another time. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. I was the sword again. That means if you were the shield, you won. But if you were the fist, I won. Alright, last one. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, I was the fist. So that means if you were the sword, you beat me. But if you were the shield, I beat you. Who won more battles? Who was the ultimate warrior?
Ultimate Warrior!
I love my cereal,
All right, everyone, it is time to memorize our Bible verse for this 4-week series. And remember, once you have this verse memorized, send me a video by Facebook, text it to me, email it to me, show up on my front lawn, stop me somewhere in town, but recite this verse and you can win a box of cereal. And I've got a lot of boxes of cereal I need to get rid of. All right, well, let's jump into this verse. And of course, we have motions to help you remember the verse. And here's how it goes. It says, "Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty. The Lord mighty in battle." And that comes from the book of Psalms, chapter 24, verse 8. Memorize that verse, everybody.
You know my worries, you know my cares. And I look to you, yeah, this is true, those worries disappear. Every good and perfect gift comes from above, and you supply my every need. Your thoughts on me are love. You're my provider, Jehovah Jireh, and you will cover every need. You're my provider, Jehovah Jireh, and I know you care about me. You know my worries, you know my cares. And I look to you, yeah, this is true, those worries disappear. Every good and perfect gift comes from above, and you supply my every need. Your thoughts on me are love. You're my provider, Jehovah Jireh, and you will cover every need. You're my provider, Jehovah Jireh, and I know you care about me. You care about me. All right, now bring it down. You're my provider, Jehovah Jireh, and you will cover every need. Bring it up. You're my provider, Jehovah Jireh, and I know you care about me. Na 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 na, na 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 na. I know you care about me. You care about me. Na 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 na, na 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 na. I know you care about me.
If you play games on a phone or on a tablet, you might have played Clash of Clans. And even if you haven't, you might have seen the commercials. Clash of Clans isn't your typical war game. It's a game of building and strategizing and planning. In Clash of Clans, you slowly build your kingdom, and you build an army, and then you gather gold and resources, and you set up defenses. You create a camp that can't be attacked while you're out attacking other camps. It's frustrating, it's challenging, but yes, it's a lot of fun. Clash of Clans really gets challenging though, because it tends to put obstacles in your way. You can't expand your camp because there's rocks in the way. You can't get to the enemy because he has walls in your way. Over and over, the game challenges you to meet and overcome obstacles by growing your resources and your army. Or if you're impatient, by spending more money in the App Store. And it can get pretty frustrating when those obstacles pop up in the game. It's frustrating because we can't go on to the next level. But it's also frustrating because it's too much like real life. We constantly run up against obstacles that would keep us from achieving our goals or fulfilling the plans that God has for us. Thankfully, we can overcome these obstacles without the use of gold or diamonds or money spent in the App Store. We have a God who specializes in overcoming obstacles, and He's been at it a long time. See, in the book of Joshua, God's children, the Israelites, are ready to claim the land that God made for them, that God promised them. But standing in their way is a giant obstacle. The city of Jericho with its impenetrable wall. No army had ever been able to break through that wall. But with God's help, the Israelites made the walls of Jericho tumble to the ground. Check out this amazing story in the book of Joshua, chapter 5, verse 13 to chapter 6, verse 20.
The gates of Jericho were shut tight and guarded closely because of the Israelites. No one went out, no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, I have handed Jericho over to you. I have also handed over to you its kings and its fighting men. March around the city once with all your fighting men. In fact, do it for 6 days. Have 7 priests get trumpets made out of ram's horns. They must carry them in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times. Tell the priests to blow the trumpets as you march. You will hear them blow a long blast on the trumpets. When you do, tell the whole army to give a loud shout. The wall of the city will fall down. Then the whole army will march up to the city. Everyone will go straight in. So Joshua, the son of Nun, called for priests. He said to them, Go and get the ark of the covenant of the Lord. I want 7 of you to carry trumpets in front of it. He gave an order to the army. He said, Move out, march around the city. Some of the fighting men must march in front of the ark of the Lord. Then Joshua had spoken to the men. The 7 priests went forward. They were carrying the 7 trumpets as they marched in front of the ark of the Lord. They were blowing the trumpets. The ark of the Lord's covenant was carried behind the priests. Some of the fighting men marched ahead of the priests who were blowing the trumpets. The others followed behind the ark and guarded all of the priests. That whole time the priests were blowing the trumpets. But Joshua gave an order to the army. He said, Don't give a war cry. Don't raise your voices. Don't say a word until the day I tell you to shout. Then shout. So he had the ark of the Lord carried around the city once. Then the army returned to camp. They spent the night there. Joshua got up early the next morning. The priests went and got the ark of the Lord. The 7 priests carrying the 7 trumpets started out. They marched in front of the ark of the Lord. They blew the trumpets. Some of the fighting men marched ahead of them. The others followed behind the ark and guarded all of them. The priests kept blowing the trumpets. On the 2nd day, they marched around the city once. Then the army returned to the camp. They did all those things for 6 days. On the 7th day, they got up at sunrise. They marched around the city just as they had done before. But on that day, they went around it 7 times. On the 7th time around, the priests blew a long blast on the trumpets. Then Joshua gave a command to the army. He said, Shout! The Lord has given you the city. All those things must be added to the treasures kept in the Lord's house. The priests blew the trumpets. As soon as the army heard the sound, they gave a loud shout. Then the wall fell down. Everyone charged straight in it, so they took the city.
The Israelites were nomads. They wandered. They lived in the wilderness for 40 years before approaching the city of Jericho. They didn't have the weapons or the tools to create something that could break down those walls of Jericho. But even if they did have the means to build these big weapons, it's unlikely they could have made anything that would have broken down that wall. They didn't have the bombs and the missiles like armies have today. They had arrows and spears and catapults. The very best of what they had available could not break down that wall. The Israelites did not need man-made weapons. They had the Lord. God had promised to give them the promised land, and Jericho was just the beginning. God gave Joshua instructions on how to attack the city, but they did it not with violence, but with singing and praise. And after 7 days, the Lord knocked down the walls, and Jericho fell. And Jericho shows this, that no obstacles are a challenge for God. When an obstacle blocks your path, don't despair. Give it to God and stand back. In our lives, we come up on many obstacles. Some obstacles go away with time, like the ones that say you have to be this tall to ride the roller coaster. Other obstacles can be overcome with hard work, but some obstacles require a little extra help. Obstacles can be people. They can be things. They are almost always frustrating, and they can make you want to quit. But when we see frustration, God sees a chance to show you His power. God can melt the heart of a teacher who denies you an opportunity. He can break the ice with a new friend or an old friend who's fallen away. He can remove the physical and the mental and the emotional obstacles that keep us from becoming what God made us to be. Jericho had a mighty wall, one that no army could overcome. But God is mightier than any wall or any army. He's mightier than any person or anything. And if an obstacle appears in your path, don't despair, don't quit. That's the time to get down on your knees. God is simply waiting for you to give him your problem so that he can show you his power. Obstacles can be frustrating, but they can always be overcome. If God is for you, he will take that obstacle down and lead you on. Let God deal with your obstacles. Pray and let him take the lead. He will tear down the walls and send you on your way. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you back here next week.